First, September is National Literacy Month. And while many families want to instill a love of reading in their kids, it's not always easy to compete with that digital entertainment. So how can we inspire a lifelong love of reading at an early childhood stage? Here to share some tips is Melissa Tigges, a mom and VP of Strategic Initiatives at Cottage Door Press, an award-winning children's publisher. Welcome to Great Day, Washington. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, those little babies don't exactly have the digital entertainment, but that's why we need to instill it so early, the love of reading. Why is that so important?
It's incredibly important because we've seen that early literacy is tied to academic success, social emotional well-being, and even longer life expectancy.
Wow.
So it's critically important to get them as early as possible.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, you know, when you're pregnant, some of the mothers and the husbands, they read to the belly. What are some of the best ways to just start that early reading, maybe from infancy?
Yeah. So, well, we actually even have a book that has a cutout to go over the pregnant belly so that you can start that process really early.
Yeah.
But after the baby is born, reading right away is really important. I think the American Academy of Pediatrics has even come out and said reading aloud from birth is critically important. It builds bonds between mother and baby. It helps them understand the rhythm of language. So reading aloud as early as you can is critically important.
Yeah, such a wonderful thing to do with your babies,
yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Then as they become toddlers, what's a great way to continue to incorporate reading with toddlers?
Make it fun, make it interactive.
Because now they're moving.
Now they're moving, and so, you know, a lot of the books that we produce are meant for little hands. They have flaps to be lifted, they have puppets to play with, they have
buttons to push.
Things that can keep them engaged in reading instead of just sitting down and reading a page and not touching the pages that can be ripped. We really want to encourage those early book handling behaviors, which is to chew, to pull, things that generally when you think about books you may not want them to do, but certain books are designed specifically for that particular age.
Yeah, it helps their motor skills too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And it's fun, and again, it's just continuing to instill that love of reading.
And take, you know, content that they're interested in. If they love dinosaurs, get them books about dinosaurs. Go to the library and let them pick out what books that they're interested in.
Right.
Any reading is reading. So.
I love too that you can find ethnic books or just books that identify with your child or your family.
Yes.
It's so nice.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, okay, preschoolers. Now they're reading at school. Now we're trying to encourage reading independently. What are some great ways to do that?
Yeah, we never want to kind of give up the idea of having bedtime, story time with the parent, but we want to infuse more times to get story time. So there's a lot of new products out there, or probably existing products that are audio devices that you can pair with a book to help them think that they're reading on their own and to encourage that independence. We have this new Luna Storytime projector, which projects images of the book on the screen or on your wall or on your ceiling that makes the child feel like they're immersed in storytelling and allows them to pick the stories on their own and be in control of story time.
Yeah.
So, you know, any of these extra tools to help them read on their own, which is something preschoolers like to do, is great.
For sure, and enjoy it at the same time.
And enjoy it, you know.
Yeah, so this is quite small. So it's like you can even bring it with you if you go to a hotel.
It's got a handle,
oh,
you can carry it with you. Yes, and there's different, this comes off, and there's new other characters that you can put on that tell different stories, so you can build your library that way. And, you know, have their favorite characters, whether it's Daniel Tiger or Paw Patrol, or just kind of classic story content.
Yeah.
You know, creating a book positive environment too, creating books, you know, putting books everywhere in your house, having them with you in the car, you know, creating a little story nook.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, for kids to have a quiet place to read that's special.
Yeah.
Is another way that you can kind of infuse that excitement around reading.
Melissa, I wish I could go back and make a little book nook. I mean, we just had the playroom and it was all chaotic in there. And we read a lot, but the book nooks, they just look so cozy and calming and just wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's really, really great. Well, thank you so very much for being here. These are really great tips for parents, and we appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you.
Of course. Well, you can get more reading inspiration by visiting cottagedoorpress.com.